Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Revival of America podcast. This is Jenny. I'm the owner and the host of the Revival of America. Today we have Dallas in the house. Everything RP, everything RV news. Sorry, guys, it's been a day. So everybody, if you have a question for Dallas, please feel free to start raising your hands, and I will unmute your mic at some point in this podcast. Or if you cannot speak, there is a picture on the wall of Dallas that you can write your questions underneath that in the comment section. Also, to everybody, please be careful who you listen to, who you follow, and what you are putting into your mind. Especially, I mean, as always, do that, but especially in the event of Charlie Kirk's incident, 12 days ago now. Please, there's a lot of craziness going on being said out there. Do your own research, take what resonates with you, and just try to. What I'm doing is I'm staying neutral because I know a lot of the things in the research that I have done. It doesn't make sense. A lot of anomalies, a lot of dots do not connect. But again, I want to be sensitive to the family, for whatever it may be has happened, because we know we've all been lied to, and I understand how a lot of people are feeling certain ways, different ways. So just, again, everybody, I think just, if anything, take the message of what Charlie left, and that was about God, faith, family, country, and we need to run with that torch because if in fact he is, if he is passed, then we need to continue running with that torch because what has brought out of that unfortunate situation is the revival of America that we are seeing here and of the world. We are seeing a huge revival and people coming to our Lord Jesus Christ. So that's amazing. And we know that needs to happen, right? So a lot of confusion going on, everybody. And that's why I say what I do. Stick and stay with the 3 to 5 people that haven't led you wrong through the course of your journey here, everybody, because more than likely they're going to get you through this. But I'm going to start telling you 3 people, 1 to 3 people, because it's getting that much more insane because a lot of the people that we have seen and listened to throughout this journey, we're seeing kind of go by the wayside. So I tell you guys, double, triple vet the people. You've already vetted them, vet them again. And other people are starting to say that as well because you just never know who might approach them with something better. And if it's titillizing to them, then they may take it. So please, everybody, be careful who you listen to, who you follow, and what you're putting in your mind. If you don't have a strong mind, you can't handle it, stay out of the chats, stay out of the comment boxes, stay out of those podcasts. I can't tell you that enough because it's wild and it's just going to get more wild. For me, even even for us to do the research and we sit here and we do these podcasts, like I've literally had to take about 1,000 steps backwards and kind of rack my brain with this whole Charlie Kirk thing, just because of all the anomalies and things just aren't connecting and things don't make sense. So, but anyway, we gotta keep pushing on. We gotta keep moving on. Everybody's feelings are valid, guys. So continue to have your feelings, whatever they may be, regarding that situation. But we've got to at some point brush the dirt off of our shoes and we got to keep pushing along because we're not done yet, everybody. And remember, our journey on the other side of this is just beginning. We're going to have a lot of work to do to clean up this mess. So just keep that in mind, everybody. Also, too, we're being listened to in over 100 countries. So we are being making a lot of great noise. So you can follow us on the podcast host or other social media areas that I post the podcast, especially if you're having trouble listening to it over on Rumble. I suggest you do it. And the podcasts are iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor, Apple, Google, Breaker, Pocket Cast, Podbean, Riverside, Amazon Music. Social medias are Jenny Dreed Facebook, at Jenny_Dreed X, at JDreed Rumble, at JDreed Instagram, at JDreed True Social, right here, our Telegram, The Revival of America, and The Revival of America over on YouTube. And I am out of time out over there, so the shows are going back over on YouTube. Also, check out the website, everybody, therevivalofamerica.com. Sign up for the newsletter. You will get the weekly updates on the show lineups as well as the new podcasts that come out. It is free, so I highly encourage everybody to sign up for that weekly newsletter. And then last but not least, if you have a story or a journey to tell, you'd like to have your voice heard on the podcast, we do vet these stories because unfortunately we do have those shysters that just want to make up stories to try to get on a podcast. Once we vet them, we will reach out to you via email, try to get you scheduled, get your voice heard, and you can have your voice and your story told here on the podcast. And you can send those to therevivalofamerica@yahoo.com. So send all those submissions there. If you have a personal question or you're trying to get in touch with John Baxter or any of my guests, you want to go see John at his facility, or you want to buy Field's books, reach out to me at therevivalofamerica@yahoo.com. And with that, everybody, Dallas is in the house. I know last week or last time he was here was actually the day Charlie Kirk was assassinated. So we were a little bit discombobulated. We literally were getting that information as we were getting on the podcast. So we were kind of, it was more or less a tribute to kind of Charlie Kirk. So for whatever questions you guys may have, and it doesn't have to just pertain to RV today, you can ask what you want, but we are going to be talking some more. Hopefully Dallas has some great information for us today regarding the RV. So with that, I would like to welcome Dallas to the room. How are you, Dallas?
Good. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you fantastic. How you how you doing since the last time we talked? You and I were both a little discombobulated.
Well, I can tell you, as sad as I still am, way better, way better today. I mean, that, gosh, 2 weeks ago it was just crazy. I mean, I don't know in my life if I've ever experienced something like that. I mean, obviously I wasn't alive when JFK Senior was assassinated, but those that were know exactly where they were, what they were doing, what they were wearing. I remember the space shuttle exploding. I mean, I remember the classroom. I remember, things on the wall. I mean, I remember very, very specific details about that day. And 9/11. I mean, those big pivotal moments. And for me, and for us, and for our generation or this generation, Wednesday, 2 weeks ago. I mean, that's going to be one of those dates. But doing well. Glad to be here. Life is just literally insane for me, but glad to be here with you guys and kicking this thing off.
Let me ask you, Dallas. I don't know if you've been feeling this way or not, or maybe any of you here in the audience, but I have felt so off kilter since that whole situation happened. Obviously, I think a lot of us look at the world with different eyes these days for knowing what we know, right? But I am just, I don't know if it's because he was here in Arizona, his office was so close to where I'm at. I don't know. It just is still surreal to me. The stadium's like 10 minutes from my house, where they just had all the memorial, which was absolutely amazingly beautiful, by the way. And I don't know, I just have been a little off kilter, and I'm trying to get myself, because I'm like you, like I felt a certain way about it. I had my tears about it, the confusion, the hurt, all the things that go with something so horrific like that, right? But then again, there's all those questions that are still unanswered because we just don't know. There's so many anomalies. There's so many things that the dots just aren't connecting. And it's just, my mind is spinning kind of. And I'm trying to regroup and be like, okay, we got to focus, right? We got to dust off those boots and continue on with his torch. So yeah, I have felt a little bit out of sorts a little bit. Have you been feeling that way at all?
Yeah, I mean, I've been pretty vocal about my discontent. The thing that God just jammed into my brain was, because I mean, immediately, was it fake? Was it real? Is he alive? Is he dead? Is he in, Project Valhalla? What did cash mean? All those questions, right? And the frustrating part for me is, the only thing that I know for a fact is that he wasn't killed by the 22-year-old with a 30-06, 200 yards away from a roof. That's the only thing that I know. And I'm not a weapons expert. I'm not a marksman expert, but I am a very rational human being that has a very strong sense of watching, like looking at something and just going, that's not that's not what would happen, right? And we've had 2 full weeks, 14 days, and every day we learn, we get we get a different angle, we learn a little bit more information, and it's for almost every answer we're given, it just creates like 10 more questions, right? The narrative that we're being presented is not the truth. I don't know what the truth is, right? I mean, I have lots of opinions, as most people do, but he's not, he's not Superman. His spine did not stop at 30-06 going over 2,000 feet per second from the front. I have so many questions, and my real frustration and my real discontent is with our current administration. And I'm not bashing Trump per se. I still believe in Trump, but Kash Patel is not telling us the truth. Our government is not telling us the truth. And that is really, really unsettling and frustrating to me. And I think that's where I said, I am not interested in debating whether he's alive or not. I want him to be alive. If I got to pick, if I got to choose, I choose him to be alive, not because I want Charlie Kirk to continue to go to campuses and debate college students. I want Charlie Kirk to be alive for his wife and his 2 young children. Period.
Amen. Yep.
But the story doesn't make sense. The facts and the mechanics and the geometry and just some of the things that I know to be true in the realm of physics and gravity and things like that, they're not adding up. And so that's my frustration. I think that we have, as a community, and I've voiced this over the last 2 weeks, I think what I learned from the Charlie Kirk thing, because God was so specific with me, that in our movement, we have been trained to one, not believe anything, not anything we hear, not anything we see. And we've been trained to look for inconsistencies. But I think too often than not, and you and I have been the victim of this, but we've also been caught smack dab in the middle of, well, I believe this, or I believe that, or, I use JFK Jr. as an example all the time. I don't bring him up, right, in conversations. If I'm trying to red pill somebody, or I'm trying to open a dialogue with somebody, the first thing that I bring out of the gate is not, well, JFK Jr. is alive, right? and if they question that, then I'm like, oh, well, you're asleep and you're an idiot, right? I have been told by Gene Ho personally, like face to face, that he is alive, but I can't prove that, right? I mean, I'm not calling Gene Ho a liar, but all the people that we think JFK has played, and all the characters and all the times we've seen him, none of those are verifiable. Not one from our perspective, right? And I think in this movement, we have spent a little too much time arguing amongst ourselves and dividing ourselves on things that just aren't pertinent or relevant at the moment, right? And that's Charlie Kirk. Is he alive or dead? That's not my focus. My focus is the life, the message, the meaning of Charlie's life, and more so his wife and his children, And so I have no interest in debating whether he's alive or not, whether it was fake or real. All I know is that the story we're being fed, I know that's not true. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. 1,000%. I'm right there with you. I'm not in that lane of whether he's alive or dead. If I chose, I would be like you. I would prefer him to be alive, because he did leave behind 2 little children and his wife. So yeah, I'm right there with you. I am. I want answers, and I think for me, that's where I'm at, and where I'm feeling a little bit discombobulated, just kind of out of sorts, is because we just don't have answers. We don't have answers for a lot of stuff, but this one really hits home. Because it is another JFK, MLK of our time, right? So Yeah, it's been it's been rough. Let's just say that.
Yeah. And I say that because I think it's very pertinent to where we are in this time, right? Have I been discombobulated? At 100%. But I think the discombobulation is more from a spiritual standpoint than it is anything else. There, and I was talking to one of the members, and they may be listening right now, but Charlie's organization was called Turning Point, right? Turning Point USA. Wednesday, 2 weeks ago, when he was assassinated, again, not debating real, fake, live death, when he was assassinated in front of the world, there was a flagpole jammed in the ground in that moment, and I believe that is and has been and will be revered or viewed as a turning point in this battle and this movie, this pantomime, whatever silly word you want to put in there. And there has been a profound spiritual shift in the world. And, in the last 2 weeks, there have been more Bibles purchased for the first time in a person's life than any other time in recorded book sale history. There have been more attendees in evangelical churches, specifically in the United States, but around the world, the last 2 Sundays than in the last 10 to 20 years. You're seeing huge revivals. You're seeing huge memorials that turn into revivals all around the world. And I think the thing that is it's not throwing us off, but the thing that feels different is there has been a global shift in this, in the conviction of those of us that are even remotely paying attention, and even more so. And I think that's maybe what is the most awkward for us, is that there has been an enormous shift in those that either have just been sitting on the sidelines, like kind of like, well, like I know something's wrong. I know that our elections are not 100% fair, but they haven't been engaged. They haven't been vocal, and they haven't been stepping out. And there was a huge shift. My social media platforms, including my personal page on Facebook, that I share a lot of articles and I share a lot of stuff, but I don't get on there and politically or conspiracy wise debate people. Like I don't engage in back and forth rhetoric. I don't comment on other people's things. But I saw just this never ending feed of people that I didn't even knew who Charlie Kirk was, expressing deep, profound sadness and anger and support for what they had witnessed. And I'm telling you, it caught me off guard. That's what caught me off guard, is that I was seeing people post about Charlie Kirk that I didn't even know, I didn't even know they were like in the game, you know what I mean? On any level. And so I think that's what we're experiencing. I know that we've experienced that at church the last 2 weeks. And I have watched it happen all around the world. To me, that's what's exciting. And I feel like for whatever reason that was allowed to take place, right? Because some people's question is, why would God allow such a good person to be taken out like that? God is getting the glory, and that's what Charlie preached about, right? I mean, Charlie, he was incredibly smart. He was incredibly intelligent. He was very articulate. But Charlie preached the life, the death, and the resurrection of Jesus Christ, and Jesus's moral code. And that is what is impacting people on such a huge global scale. And that is a part of this thing coming to a close, in my opinion. And I think that it really was a turning point in this whole thing, because what is really pointed out to me is that more so than ever before, because I've always said it, but I don't know if I necessarily believed it fully in my head. This is not about Republicans and Democrats. This is not about right and left. This is not about, the NWO or, the world order or the cabal. This is about good and evil. This whole thing, everything that we've been talking about and debating and researching, for specifically the last 5 to 10 years, right? Depending on when your eyes were, when the scales or the veils were removed from your eyes and you were allowed to see the world for what it really is. That it is good and evil. And I believe that there's a shift that's taken place, and I think it is connected to the RV. I think it's connected to the exposure of the truly evil and vile. And to be honest with you, more than ever, it is apparent that there is a mental illness epidemic in this country, in this world. But I had this epiphany this morning with Trina on the Hero Network. Satan has dominion over the earth, right? And his power and his control and the level of demonic either oppression or subjection is really off the charts, right? And we saw that with all the people that came out and were, celebrating and gleeing up and down, and and just the vile things that they were saying about a husband and a father that was gunned down in the public purview. And I think, Monday when Trump and RFK had their big announcement about autism, I wish they would have went a little heavier on the vaccine side of it, but when they talked about Tylenol, and then my feed exploded with pregnant women chomping down handfuls of Tylenol, purely in like
one of them is on a ventilator right now for swallowing so many. Yep.
Yeah, but they did that because they have such hatred and vitriol for a single human being on this planet. Like that's not even mental illness, right? Like that's demonic possession. And I think that that's what has been a big bright light was turned on when Charlie Kirk was assassinated in front of the world. And we are seeing the fact that demonic possession and demonic oppression is rampant in this country, because that is just like, that's beyond insane to take a handful of Tylenol, knowing you're pregnant, knowing that they just released empirical medical data that goes back decades linking Tylenol and Advil and that the chemical that's in them. And I can't, I can't really pronounce it because it's a really weird word, but it's directly linked to autism. And then you see pregnant women in spite of Trump, because they hate Trump so much that they are eating a handful of Tylenol and filming it and then broadcasting it to the world. That is not mental illness. That is demonic. And that tells me that we're getting closer and closer and closer, maybe closer than we've ever been to this coming to some kind of conclusion. And I think it's imperative that we, specifically as Christians and believers, we pray more and more fervently and more specifically now than we've ever prayed in our entire life.
Amen.
And I'm hoping that is what is coming and what's happening, because man, this world is broken. I've always known the world was broken, but it is broken.
And real quickly, everybody, and that's why I say be careful who you listen to, who you follow, because people are showing their true colors, right? From the lowest of the low to the highest of the high. So they're really coming out and showing, like Dallas says, it's demonic. It's a lot. It's not just a mental illness. It's a lot of, we're seeing a lot of demonic sides to a lot of people. So be careful, everybody. Again, who you listen to and who you follow. And what I want to say to the audience, and what you said regarding the them touching a little bit more on the vaccines. What I tell my audience and a lot of friends and family that regarding that is you can't just rip the band-aid off when it comes to vaccines, because people are now coming out. Trump supports the vaccines, and they're just demolishing what he said, right? So I think everybody needs to be careful how they come out and attack people right away, like they attacked Erica Kirk because she put up the "I love you" sign to her picture of her
Yep.
husband at the memorial, and people said it was a devil signs. So, and now they're doing the same thing with Trump. Oh, he supports the vaccines and all that stuff. Listen, he's making it again. It's free will. It's your choice. You can do what you want, but he's suggesting don't have them done all at the same time, right? Because that seems to be where it's happening. Because there's still going to be those people that are going to believe in the vaccines, right? Well, it's your choice to do it. Just don't do it all together. But again, I think at some point they will be addressing these vaccines. This is just the start of it, right? More and more. Will we have good vaccines for us? Will we have any at all? You can't just take the vaccines off the shelf just like that, because this is where you're going to have pandemonium, you're going to have chaos, people are going to freak out. So it's a process, everybody. Remember, it's a process. Everything you do, it's strategic. It's all, we're in war, everybody. So Trump's got to do it to where he can save as many lives as possible, right? So otherwise you will be having people in the streets, especially, even when it comes to vaccines, because there are so many people, as we see the crazies out there, they're going getting their, when they were talking about the vaccines, I don't know, it was not too long ago, and you see all these people going out and getting all their boosters all at once. And I was like, it's insanity. So just be patient, everybody, and don't listen to all the people out there trying to bastardize, all these words or actions that people are doing. Let things play out, everybody. There's a method to all this madness out there. So, and like Dallas says, we need to pray. We need to pray harder, stronger than we ever have before, because the demons are out. All right, Dallas.
One.
So,
Yeah.
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say 100%.
So I know many people are probably wondering what you're hearing in the RV world, if anything, because like I said, I know last week or the last, when you were here last, was a little bit more of a tribute to Charlie Kirk. We did touch on it a little bit, but not too much. But anything new going on? What are you seeing out there in that world?
Well, lots of positivity, right? And again, I don't know how they're tied together, other than they're tied together by God, right? But I was told the 15th was a big day. Well, I've been that has been confirmed from several sources that some
Of
major
October?
things of September.
Okay.
That some major things took place on September 15th. That started pushing some things forward. There was, and again, there's always a hiccup, right? There were some hiccups. Those things were addressed. There were some countries that were, kind of fudging the books, cooking the books a little bit on their gold reserves and their ability to financially fund the RV. Those, to my knowledge, have been fixed and addressed. This is supposed to be a very pivotal week. Today being very pivotal. I have not heard anything today, but there was supposed to be movement today. On the highest of high levels. I have not gotten confirmation on that, but I know that some of the people that I hear from were pretty excited about today. Mark Z last night talked about two of his bond contacts, which we're hearing and expecting similar things to what I'm hearing and expecting. Two of them, one of them said it's definitely going to happen this month. I say that with a grain of salt. I'm just repeating what Mark Z shared. The other one said that all the meetings have been going awesome and that they're very optimistic about this being imminent, but they didn't say this month. next Monday, just Monday in a few days, when what is that? 5 days, 6 days, is the end of the fiscal year for the United States government. October 1st is the beginning of the 2026 fiscal year, right? There's lots of expectations that something kind of kicks off, between now and Monday. I hope and pray that that's true. And that's what I mean by pray, right? I mean, I think we all need to be very, very vigilant in our prayers. We need to be specific in what we're praying and what we're asking for. You have not because you ask not. Well, sometimes God just wants to see if we're willing to actually ask, and vocalize what it is that we're wanting and seeking. But very, very positive. There's there's huge news coming out of Iraq with the Kurdistan region and the pipeline and their distribution of oil, throughout the region. They would not turn that on if they don't have a new rate, because if they turn that on, they are going to be losing hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars a day. Well, that doesn't make any sense, right? Lots of news coming out of Vietnam. I watched a little, I think it was a TikTok, but I can't see TikToks, right? Because I don't have TikTok on my phone. But if a TikTok is downloaded to Telegram or Instagram or something like that, I can watch it. I watched a Telegram or a little reel of a guy showing the new BRICS currency, and he took the wrong spin on it, right? He was like, we're one step closer to a world, a world singular economy and a singular currency. That's not what the BRICS nations are, right? From my perspective and from what I know. But it was a new currency, a new bill. It looked like it had a denomination of 200. I don't know what that 200 means, right? I don't know if that's $200, 200 million, 200, but it was gold flecked. It had all of the original countries of the BRICS nations on it. And I think that that's possibly a sign that these new currencies have been printed. They are in distribution or being distributed around the country and around the world. That's also what I'm hearing about us and our gold-backed standard, the new USN. I think Trump's speech to the UN. I'm not a big proponent of soft disclosures, because I've just heard it too many times with nothing to show for it. But I mean, he pretty much laid the smackdown to the world about immigration, about global warming or climate change and the Green New Deal, and he had some pretty interesting things to say about world economics. I think that could have been a soft disclosure of the world has to change. We have to go back to an asset-backed currency per country, but also per the world, right? So I'm excited. I don't have anything definitive to share, but I'm excited. I'm very interested in what I hear in the next 24 hours, and I think this weekend could be important, but we just got to wait and see. I can tell you from a personal standpoint, I'm being forced to go back to work full time because with my wife being laid off 6 months ago, financially we are absolutely at the very end of our money. And I will have to go back to work full time Monday through Friday, either on the 20th of October or on the 28th of October. I've been offered 2 different jobs with 2 different firms. So for me, I have a very specific prayer. I have a very specific end date. I have no problem not showing up for the first day of work, but I can only do that if God provides an alternative way out, right? So for me personally, we are coming down to I can see the finish line. We've been running a marathon, and it has been an absolute kick in the teeth. And my legs, they're wobbly, my knees hurt, my ankles hurt, my left baby toe doesn't work right. you know, but I can finally see the finish line, or at least there is a finish line in front of me, right? There's a destination, there's an endpoint in front of me. And so now my prayers are very specific and time sensitive. And I would just encourage everybody else to do the same. I don't know how that changes things, right? I mean, I know that this changes, right? I mean, I won't be able to do this at 3:00 every other Wednesday.
I was just going to ask that.
I want to continue to do it, but I also can't take time away from my kids, because now my time is going to be incredibly limited with them. So I want to continue doing this, but it's going to have to change, right? So all the other things that I do, including my ministries, right? I mean, Sunday mornings, not really going to change, right? But my wrestling ministry, I won't be able to do, travel shows where we travel during the week and go do kids camps and things like that. I will only be able to do this on the weekends. So I don't want to bum anybody out, because I am standing firm in what God has called me to do. And God has called me to do this and to do my ministries and to do them with all of my heart and with all of my focus and with all of my attention, outside of the time and the dedication that I give to my family, my wife and my children. So, I believe we're coming to the finish line. And that's what I'm praying.
I'm going to pray for you too, my friend. I agree with you. We are coming to the finish line. And yes, we will talk on the backside of how you'd like to, and when you feel like you'll be able to get on here, because I think your voice is very important within this movement as well. So we'll definitely figure something out for sure.
Yes,
All right,
ma'am.
everybody. If any of you guys have questions, I see some questions on the wall. I've unmuted a few mics here, so please go ahead, start raising your hands. I will unmute your mics for Dallas to answer any questions you may have. So please go ahead, start doing that, because I know many of you probably do, since we didn't really talk much about it last time he was here. But yes, let's get your questions in for him. He is here for us, everybody, especially if we're going to be limited on his time here now with him having to go back to work. So let's see. Louise, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead and ask Dallas your question.
Hi, Dallas. I don't think this question has ever been asked before, so I'm asking it now. Is there a limit for the denominations? Let's say that you have 20 dinar. Is there a limit to how many you can actually redeem?
Great question. I do not believe so. I've never been told that, right? Through all of the sources and the different people that have been in this, some have been in this for 20 plus years. I have never heard that. There have been lots of people in this movement that have made a lot of money selling trusts, selling, redemption processes, and charging people for paperwork, charging people for humanitarian projects and things like that. And they've used that argument of limitations as the scare tactic to push these products and these systems. And it's been, in my opinion, it's been 100% in an effort to make money. That's why I've never done that. I've never charged anybody for my information. To be honest with you, I have accidentally made public a lot of those things. The humanitarian project templates, the budget templates, and the 30, 60, 90 day templates, because I stumbled across them. And I thought, man, this is really cool information. People should know this. And I have publicized it publicly. And then later on realized that so-and-so was charging $244 a call to give you the same information. Or people were charging, $100 to run your humanitarian project through Chat GPT and making it sound really cool. I didn't do that. And I think that's wrong. So I do not believe there are limitations, because let's be honest, the United States government holds $37 billion of Iraqi dinar. There's nobody on this call that is even close, right? If we took all the dinar that all of us possess, we wouldn't even scratch that, right? So I do not believe so. I have never heard that from anybody that's somewhat or seems to be connected. So I would say no.
Thanks, Dallas.
Thank you, Louise.
Yep.
All right, let's see. Fanny, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead. Go ahead, Fanny. Your mic is unmuted. Hit the blue mic in the middle of the screen. All right. Beth, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead.
Thank you so much, Jenny, and thank you, Dallas, for being on here. I want to tell you how much it's appreciated. You're honestly honest about your of the thing. My stomach's been in knots, and I understand that we're at war and things have to go certain ways. I'm majorly a Trump supporter, and all the rest of them been listening to y'all since back in 2019, 2020, when all of this psychological COVID BS started. But I just want to understand listening to Trump when he was at the UN and hearing him say 30 years he's been waiting for this. There's just all kinds of information coming out, and also hearing the part about, I believe what I've heard about the Federal Reserve. If the Federal Reserve has gone away, then the debt has been removed, because you don't pay back the debt for something that was a psychological warfare against the people anyway. But I do want to so much appreciate you and what you're going through, and how you've always been a strong Christian example to us, and how you go about living your life day to day. But it really does feel like things are coming about. And then also with RK and Trump coming out about the COVID. Well, not so much about the COVID, but about the vaccines, and especially the autism, because I've spoken with about 3 or 4 people today that are completely normies, and they're understanding about the autism now. And there was actually one girl on my Zoom AA call whose son is probably elementary age and in the younger years, and he's autistic. So I'm just hoping that some of these people, will understand there are cures out there. But just want to hear your take on those topics. Thank you so much for what you do, and you too, Jenny.
Thank you.
Yeah. So the 30 years thing, I mean, it's funny because, you go back and you listen, Trump, when he was on the Oprah Winfrey show, right? I mean, I late 80s, early 90s, right? When he was on the Oprah Winfrey show, and she's like, would you ever be interested in running for president? Well, no, but I have some good ideas. You know what I mean? So I think it has been a part of his life for a very long time. Warren Buffett recently has come out and said, my advice is to own less US dollars and more foreign currencies. Well, what does he mean by that? Why would Warren Buffett, one of the most successful investors in the world, maybe in the history of the world, why would he say, you know what, I would probably own less US dollars and more foreign currencies? Why would he say that? Well, because Warren Buffett owns millions and millions and millions of dollars of foreign currencies, including the Iraqi dinar and the Vietnamese dong. So I think that, again, I have not been a big proponent of soft disclosures. Oh, well, Trump disclosed we're going to the gold-backed standard. Well, I mean, I listened to the whole speech and I didn't hear that. I didn't hear anything that could even be remotely looped that way. But his speech to the UN, he made some pretty definitive statements from my perspective. I think, I agree with Jenny. I don't know if I agreed with it in the moment, but I absolutely agree with it now. You can't just come out and say, oh, all vaccines are poison, we're going to take them off the market, because we know what the left would do. The left would riot. I mean, they would freak out because he is taking away medical choice, and he just wants them all to die of scurvy and polio, which, there hasn't been a case of polio in the United States in 50 years, but so I think that it's just, slow disclosure. I don't like the term soft disclosure, but I think that's what we're getting, is they're not coming out and just outwardly saying these things because people just won't accept them, right? Trump came out when COVID happened and tried to say, hey, you know what really works well? Hydroxychloroquine and, and ivermectin and these, antibodies. And what did the media do? The media went so hard the opposite direction that they took hydroxychloroquine off the market. Like, yeah, you couldn't get it. It's been widely distributed around the world for the better part of 2 decades prior to 2020, and Trump talks about it, and the left and the mainstream media and the cabal and the powers that be went so hard against him that it took something that was really, really beneficial completely off the market for us. The same thing with this Tylenol stuff, right? I mean, Trump and RFK come out and say, we have definitive proof that the chemical that's in Tylenol and Advil and ibuprofen has been directly linked to increased autism rates. And these dumb idiots go out there and start taking handfuls of Tylenol because they hate him so much. And the media just like, oh, wow, he's gonna take Tylenol away from us. What do we do when we get a fever? Well, what did we do 200 years ago when we had a fever? Well, we had herbs and remedies and and grandma's cough medicine that we never knew how she made it, but every time we took it, it made us feel better, right? It was just herbs and minerals and things like that. So I'm not a huge fan of it because I am not very subtle, or I don't do subtleties very well. And my example of that is my birthday was last Friday, 2 weeks ago, two weekends ago, not this weekend, but last weekend. My wife and my children threw a surprise birthday party for me. And I didn't figure out that it was actually for me until Sunday morning when I was in the shower getting ready to go to church, because my sister-in-law's birthday was on Monday. Her birthday is the 22nd. So my wife said, hey, mom and dad are coming up. We're going to get together and do kind of a family birthday thing, family birthday dinner for you and Annie. Well, in my mind, my birthday is completely unconsequential and irrelevant. This is all about Annie. And everybody at the party was connected to me. And I spent the entire dinner just like in my mind feeling sorry for my sister-in-law. I was like, man, this sucks. We're having this party for her, and the only people that showed up were my friends. And I'm telling you, as honest as I can, I was in the shower Sunday morning because dinner was Saturday night. I was in the shower Sunday morning getting ready for church, and I just went, you are an idiot. You are so stupid. Like, that party was not for Annie. That party was for you, you dummy. So I don't take subtle hints very well, right? Like, I'm either too black and white or I'm too literal, right? I don't know what it is, but I believe that we are starting to see actual soft disclosures and soft exposure to the truth. I hope that answers your question or kind of gives some context to what you were asking and thinking.
It really does. And let me just say one other thing is Trump was really clear on explaining about the measles, mumps, and rubella that he didn't mention, the rubella part. But he was real clear about still continuing to take the shots, maybe delaying them and putting them back, because they're saying if you do it after 3 or something, and if you break them up into different shots, I think the combination. But I think you're right on the money, and I'm not one bit surprised that you didn't just all of a sudden dawn on you in the shower, because you're just not out there for yourself. You really are a servant for others. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much for taking my question.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Beth.
Hey, Jenny, I'm going to get out of my truck real fast. The last few times it's worked, but I might have to jump off and jump back in. So give me just 30 or 40 seconds. Okay.
Yeah, you got it. You're pretty quick with that. You're good. All right, everybody, if you guys have questions for Dallas, please feel free to raise your hand. I will unmute your mic, or if you can't speak, you can write your question underneath the comment box underneath his picture on the wall. So let's see, Snowflake, when you can go ahead and ask Dallas your question. If I think I can still hear him. So go ahead, Snowflake, your mic's
Yeah, hey,
unmuted.
it works. So
Hi,
Yay.
guys.
all good.
I have a question, and please, what is a two-sided question? And forgive my ignorance on the second one. Do you believe there will be a government shutdown? Second question is, if you do, can you tell me what you meant by it's going to be pivotal or it's going to be starting something? The start of something. Yeah.
Yeah, well, so what I was referring to is I had been told for weeks leading up to September 15th that that was going to be a pivotal day and that that was going to kind of be the start of this whole thing. And from what I've been told, that was the case. That was true. Just unfortunately, it's going to take some time for it to roll downhill to us. But that's what I was referring to then. But I think that for whatever reason, Charlie Kirk was allowed to be taken off of the board. I think that somehow that's played a part in this as well, and maybe more so on the spiritual side of things than anything else. But as far as the government shutdown, man, honestly, I have no idea because we have been threatened with that how many times in the last 5 to 7 years, So I think at some point the government's going to be completely redone and restructured. It has to be, but I don't exactly know how that plays out. Does that answer your question or make sense?
Yes, sir, it does. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Snowflake. Okay, Fanny, I'm going to call on you one more time. Your mic is unmuted. Go ahead, Fanny. Go ahead, Fanny. Your mic is unmuted. All right, I'm going to have to mute you again. All right. All right, Dallas, I'm going to read you some questions here. Okay, let's see. We've got one from Renee. Question: will BlackRock fall in the public eye? What are your thoughts on that with BlackRock and XRP?
Will it fall? I don't know because it's such a huge company. Will it be exposed? I believe 100%, right? BlackRock, between BlackRock and Vanguard, there's one more, I can't think of the name of it right now, but between those three companies, they literally own like 90% of the controlling interests of the largest companies in the world, like not just the United States, the entire world. There's corruption throughout the whole system, right? So will the company be destroyed and knocked to the ground? If that happened, it would collapse the world economy. But I think that there's a huge, I'm almost 100% confident that it will be exposed, and the bad leaders, the dark leaders that have been behind it, are going to be exposed. I think that that's part of Trump's executive orders, corporations that have been involved in voter fraud, voter tampering, and then crimes against humanity. I think that that's part of this taking back from the elites and giving to the minions, right? Kind of the biblical take from the wicked and give to the righteous. But I don't exactly know how that plays out, but I definitely think that it will be exposed.
And what are your thoughts on XRP?
I think XRP is going to, what I've been told is that XRP is going to be the primary transferring system in the world. So when you want to send money, whether cross state, across the United States, across border to other countries, the Ripple / XRP platform is probably how we're going to do it. Just today, I think, if not yesterday, banks are now openly being allowed to access, XRP, digital currencies, cryptocurrencies, 401ks. Now you can select, XRP and XLM in your 401k. So when you get your money for your 401k, instead of buying stock of Tesla or mutual funds, which are what 401ks are, you can put that money directly into XRP. So we're going to see, probably very, very soon, we're going to see a huge spike in XRP price because the XRP volume is going to exponentially increase. So I think it's a pivotal part of what's coming.
Thank you, Dallas. Okay, here's one. Trump won 2020. Hello, Dallas and Jenny. Hope all is well. I wanted to ask a question regarding it being a requirement now to bring your spouse to the RV with you. Have you heard of this? Is it mandatory? My husband does not believe anything regarding the RV and thinks I'm crazy. For the record, I did purchase some currency on his credit card, so he would be part of this historic event, but he knows nothing about it. I'm nervous about this because the currency I have will probably require me to sign an NDA. His will not. I do not think he would say anything to anyone else intentionally, but I'm nervous about him being in there with me. I would just have preferred 2 appointments back to back. Your thoughts, please. Thank you both. Pray for me. Of course.
I don't know who said that or where you heard it, but I think that's the silliest thing I've ever heard. And I'll just use myself as an example. I'm not taking my wife to my appointment. I mean, my wife has come on board, but she gives me so much grief about this, almost on a weekly basis, because I've let her in more and more, right? I mean, I have weekly calls, and so once a week on a specific day, she comes home and she's like, "So, do you have your call?" And I'm like, "Yep." And she's like, "Let me guess. There were problems this week, but we're very positive about Monday and Tuesday." And I'm like, pretty much, right? So she's pretty sarcastic about it, but at least she's entertaining the fact that, like, okay, this might be real. I'm not planning to take her because she has no knowledge of this, and I don't want to get in there and then all of a sudden she finds out it's real, and then all of those questions that maybe she's had in the back of her mind, or all of her frustration and discontent, and then she just like starts blowing up the redemption center staff, so am I going to hide it from her? No. Right. But I don't hide anything from my wife. I mean, I have a business account to protect her and my family in case I was to be sued in the business and the profession that I have been in for the last 13 or 14 years, but she has access to it. I mean, she's not on it, but I mean, I don't hide it. She has the password. So if she ever wants to go look, she can see it. It would be the same in this world, but again, I don't know who said it. I don't know where you heard it, so I don't want to be too harsh, but that's just silly. It doesn't even make sense. Your QFS account, from my knowledge, you'll be able to put beneficiaries on there. Well, your spouse would be one of them, obviously, right? But there are a whole lot of people that, their spouses have left them because of this movement and this dream of currency revalue. Well, they don't, they shouldn't be entitled to it. They left you, right? So I will absolutely pray for you and your husband, but to my knowledge, there's nothing that I've ever heard or been told that says you have to take your spouse. That would be the equivalent, right? And this is why I say it's just silly. That'd be equivalent to you going to Wells Fargo and opening up a new checking account, and they're like, "Are you married?" "Oh, well, we can't open it if your husband's not here." Well, that's dumb. People open up accounts every day, So if it doesn't make sense in this world, why would it make sense in the new world?
Amen.
So,
Amen. Thank you, Dallas. All right, here's another one. Any news on the Zim personal funds we may get?
not really. I mean, other than now you're actually hearing people reference them, right? Like all these bank stories that we're hearing on Mark Z and Frank and all the other people that are out there talking about the RV. They share these bank stories, and now the bankers are saying, well, I mean, it's Iraqi dinar, Vietnam dong, Zimbabwe Zim notes, right? So even the bankers are referring to the Zim without being prompted. So I definitely think it's a part of it. What people don't realize is that when Trump was on The Apprentice, part of the prize package was Zim notes, Zim bonds, and Trump said way back when Apprentice was so big, hey, you're going to get this currency, this Zim currency. Hold on to it. It's going to be worth a lot of money in the future, right? And I don't do a very good Trump impersonation, but that's going to be huge. It's going to be worth a lot of money, you know. So it's definitely on the table from my perspective. What the values are going to be, I have no idea, because forever and ever and ever we heard, you know, the minimum I heard was 11 million per 100 trillion, and then it went to like 30 to 50 million, and then it went to, you know, 70 million, maybe more, and then you have certain people that are like, it's 1-to-1. That's garbage. We're not getting 1-to-1 on our Zim, but it's going to be a good return. I have some information that says substantially less per 100T, but I'm going to wait and see before I've actually exposed it before, but it caused a whole lot of ripples and, you know, kickback, but it's going to be worth it. So I'm very positive about the Zim.
All right, here's another one. Go North to Dakota asks, Dallas, do you believe the RV, including 4B, Tier 4B, will be able to do our currency exchange a few months before NESARA goes public?
I don't know. I mean, what I'm being told, and this has been pretty consistent over the last month, is that JESSARA is actually going to go before NESARA is specifically announced. But the word on the street is that, October 1st is supposed to be the kickoff of, JESSARA and NESARA around the globe, and, not fines and penalties, but the restitution payments, the increase in Social Security, the Doge payments, the tariff rebates or the tariff dividends. What I'm being told is that that's supposed to kick off, come October 1st. But it's been shared with me that when NESARA rolls out, I mean, there's like 200 parts to NESARA, right? And so unlike the beginning where it was like, oh, a switch is going to be flipped and we're getting all of our money back and all of our back taxes and all that stuff. What I'm being told is that NESARA is going to take a minimum of like 3 months to roll out completely. But as it's rolling out, we're going to start getting access to these different programs and these different kind of sectors of it, right? Whether that's Social Security, whether that's Doge payments, whether that's tariff payments, but we're going to start getting money funneled back to us. But it may take some time for the whole thing to be rolled out. But again, I listen, I take in all this information, and then in my brain, I just say, okay, well, I'm just going to sit back and watch. I'm just going to wait and see. And whatever rolls out, I'm probably going to be pretty excited, and most of us will be. But we just got to wait and see, because nobody really knows how it's going to roll out.
Amen to that. All right, here's the second part to that question. How does Dallas think silver will go in the next year? Thank you.
Well, holy guacamole. I mean, I looked today, silver was 44 something, right? Gold last week hit over $3,700 an ounce. When the asset-backed currency is formally announced, and I do believe there has to be some kind of formal announcement, I think they both skyrocket. Now, if we go to an actual asset-backed currency where our currency is backed by gold and silver primarily, then they have to be pegged at a specific price, right? Like, back in the day when we were gold-backed currency, I mean, gold was pegged at X number of dollars per ounce, and silver was pegged at X number. Both of them were suppressed, but they were pegged. I think we're going to get a peg. Both of them are going to exponentially increase, but when it comes to our currency, it's going to be pegged at a number. What is that number? I have no idea. But I think silver should probably exceed, if not equal, gold in the future, because gold, there's still as much gold in the ground as there is in circulation. Like there's more gold in the ground still than there is in circulation. Silver, on the other hand, is widely used in everything, right? Like your cell phone has an ounce of silver in it. Now you can't really, it's really, 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 really hard to process it, right? To extract it. But your cell phone you're holding in your hand or you're sitting on the table, that's an ounce of silver. Well, what happens if silver goes to $5,000 an ounce? Well, now your cell phone it's theoretically worth $5,000, right? But they put silver in everything, and and medical devices and medical, tools. All of our processing chips have silver in them. So silver is a depleted asset. So I think silver could exceed, but at the very minimum, I think it'll be equal to gold in overall price. But it should peg at a specific price in regards to currency, and then on the free market, it'll probably exceed that pegging spot.
Thank you, Dallas. All right, here's one from Alfie Lynn. Does it matter the year of the dong or bolivar foreign currency? Does it matter which year you have?
Not on the dong, on the bolivar. I mean, I was always told that you really wanted, something newer than 2017, right? You wanted 2018 to current. When it's all said and done, they're still gonna redeem it. From my perspective, it just may be a little bit less, maybe, but the bolivar is so stinking cheap. Anything you get, I mean, if they gave you $20 for it, well, again, at one point you could buy 1 million habaneros for 49 cents a piece, right? If they gave you $20, I mean, that's like a $2,500 increase or 2,500% rate of return. I mean, that's huge, right? We get excited when we get a 4 or 5% return in the market. I don't think it's going to be $20. I think it's going to be significantly more, but 2017 to present was what I was told. But again, we just have to wait and see. But not on the dong. I mean, the only one.
Oh, you're cutting out.
Is the Zim. Sorry, can you hear me now? Hello.
Okay, we can hear you better. There you go.
The only currencies that are date specific, to my knowledge, are the ZIMs, 2008, 2009, AA or AB bonds, and the Bolivar. You wanted, they preferred you to have 2018 current, but they're going to redeem them all because, I mean, Venezuela, gosh bless, I mean, one year they had like 3 different versions in the same year. So.
Thank you, Dallas. All right, last one here on the wall. Last question from Cindy. What is your opinion of the barricades going up at the White House?
I hope something big is about to happen. The reality is that our entire government is compromised. The whole kit and caboodle, right? There's maybe 3 or 4 that aren't bought and paid for by a foreign government. And we won't necessarily go into specifics on what foreign government, but it's one specific one. The whole system has to be redone, right? And everybody's compromised. And I think we're seeing that on such a broad scale right now. It's ridiculous, but I'm hoping it's for a very specific reason. And I hope it's part of the kind of the lead up to everything that we've been praying for and waiting on all these years.
I agree with you. I think something big is about to happen, everybody. All right, we're going to go with some hands here on the front side. Miss Amanda, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead. Go ahead, Amanda. Your mic is unmuted. All right, Tennessee Trash, go ahead. Your mic is unmuted.
Hello. It's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, a couple of weeks. Well,
I like the quote that Kennedy said that half of our Congress and Senate should be making license plates.
Yep. And it's more than half.
Yes, I agree. I was being generous. Do you think we're going to get the Venezuela currency straightened out in time for the RV?
I hope so. I mean, isn't it a little bit odd how much Venezuela is in the daily news?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, a year ago, 2 years ago, I can't remember when I brought it up the first time. It's easily 2, maybe 3 years ago, but you never heard Venezuela ever, right? I mean, it was never mentioned in world politics or mainstream media. And now, I mean, I hear Venezuela and read something about Venezuela almost daily. I think that's a telltale sign. And Trump has been pretty vocal about the leader of Venezuela, and the leader of Venezuela has been pretty vocal in return. But I think there's a reason that the magnifying glass or the spotlight has been shined on Venezuela is because everybody wants Venezuela to be a part of this, but there still needs to be some corrections to take place. And the truth of the matter is those corrections could be taking place right now, and we're just not aware of it. But I believe it's been there. If not, it's going to be so quick after, because the people of Venezuela, you know, if money starts flowing around the world and they look and say, oh, well, why isn't it flowing here? And then everybody realizes, oh, it's because we have a dirtbag in leadership. Well, then we're going to see in Venezuela what we saw in Nepal 2 weeks ago. They're going to kick down the doors. They're going to burn them alive inside the Capitol. So if I was him, I would just step down. But
Thank you, Dallas. Thank you, Tennessee Trash. All right,
Thank you.
Amanda, I'm going to go ahead. Amanda, if you're here, your mic is unmuted. Do you have a question for Dallas? Amanda. Hello, Amanda. All right, we're going to go on to Brenda. Brenda, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead.
Yes, thanks. Well, since I raised my hand, you've probably kind of answered my question, but because I had got on late, I was on another call, and I was just going to ask you to kind of summarize where we are, but I think I'm hearing you think that we're in a good spot and things are happening, we hope, pretty quickly.
yeah, is the RV going to happen by the end of this month? No, not for the general public, but I'm hoping to get some pretty decent news in the next 24 to 48 hours on the upper echelon of this thing. And if that news comes, then it's just a matter of time.
Uh-huh.
I just don't know what that time frame looks like, right? But this is what
Right.
I asked a very specific question, and what I was told, because I asked this because, you know, like I get on these calls and typically I just keep my mouth shut and just listen, but every now and then I'm like, all right, I got to say something. But I asked this exact question, like, what is our time frame? Because I just need to know, right? Like, if it's 6 months away, then okay, that will suck. But I am the personality that I will do whatever I have to do to take care of my family, my wife, and my children, my ministries for the next 6 months to get to that end, right? If I know that that's where it is, and that's how it's been my whole life. When I played football, you know, if we were running sprints, I really needed to know how many, not so that I could do what everybody else would do. You know, if we're running 10 sprints, everybody else, you say, hey, we're running 10. Well, they're going to loaf 7 or 8, and they're going to sprint the last 2 to look like they're rock stars, right? That's not how my brain is wired, right? I need to know 10 because I'm going to run as fast and as hard as I can until we get to the end, or I pass out or I die of a heart attack. Like that's how I'm wired. I've been that way my
Yeah.
whole entire life. So my coaches knew that they had to come tell me, right? Because otherwise I probably was going to hurt myself. And they didn't want that, right? Like you know, if I blow my hamstring out sprinting full speed, because I don't know where the end line is, right? I don't know where the finish line is. Well, that's not beneficial for the team. So my coach would always come and say, you know, I mean, obviously I wasn't called Dallas in high school, or high school or college, but they would come and say, hey, bud, we got 10. Or, hey, you know, one time we had 100. That one sucked. You know what I mean? I was like, what did you just say? You know, it's like, he's like, I know. I said, 100. I said, okay. I said, if I drop out, just, you know, bring the defibrillator, because that means my heart probably exploded. But I asked the question, where are we? What is our time frame? And what I was told was, we're not months, we're not years, but we are hours / days to weeks. So, you know, again, all I can do is share what was shared with me, but Mark Z is pretty optimistic, and he's been pretty dry the last month. I mean, he's not overly sharing, but he has been pretty optimistic the last couple of weeks. This week, he's had some really good things to say, and we're seeing that kind of codified, with all the other people, right? Like they're kind of catching up, and they're saying the very same things he is saying. They just talk more, right? I mean, they say more probably than they should sometimes, but so I'm optimistic.
Yeah. Well, I know we listen to Mark a little, but we've been on a private group for many years, and they basically, if last week was saying they were waiting on 3 signatures, I don't remember specific, but they said when those get done, we are really into, getting close. So I don't know if you'd heard that or what either.
I heard very similar things.
Okay. So, and when you just said what you did on that call, that's just in the last few days where they're saying
It was
days.
last week.
Okay, good. So, yeah, I think we're all getting more excited again.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Thanks so much.
you're welcome.
Thank you, Brenda.
Uh-huh.
All right, grandmother 5, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead.
Hello. Good to talk
Hello.
with y'all.
Hello.
2 weeks is just too long, Dallas. You need to come on weekly. I'm telling you. I wanted to say this with the people that were talking about the Bolivar back. Oh, I think it was 2 years ago when everybody started buying the foreign currency. When a lot of people started buying. Trump, I know it was 2 or 3 times in speeches where he would bring across, the Bolivar, how it was going to be worth so much more than what it is now. So I was encouraged by that to buy Bolivar. So, but anyway, I just wanted to throw that in there. But what I wanted to say is, Dallas, none of the podcasters, or I have not seen anybody showing the Mickey Mouse clock lately. And I mean, that 10 and 2 just keeps standing out to me. And I wondered, what you thought about it. Thanks.
It's funny you say that because you're right? I mean, the Mickey Mouse the clock just kind of fell off the boards, right? And since Charlie Kirk, I have seen clocks everywhere, right? On, X and all that. That was brought up last week, not in a call or anything like that, but just in a conversation. October 1st is supposed to be a big day, and the 2nd would be pretty cool. If you wake up on the 2nd and all of a sudden there's money in your account. I'm not making that claim, but I'm saying that would be pretty cool. So I think there's some relevance there.
Okay. Appreciate it. Just wanted somebody to give me a little confidence on it. And you did. Thank you.
We're good.
Thank you, grandmother 5. All right, Dallas, here's one from Jay Cookie. Hi, Dallas. Are the 2.50 trillion ZIM still good for the humanitarian projects? I heard just the 100 trillion note. Thank you for your time, as always, Tina.
Well, I mean, we got to see, right? I mean, I was told the trillion series. So anything that has, more than 9 zeros on it, it's a part of the trillion series, right? Or it has, anyway, anything in the trillion ballpark. Obviously, it's going to be worth significantly less than 100 trillion, but if what we've been told stands to reason that, if you have a ZIM, then you have a project, well, then those are 2 different buckets, right? You get your private money, and then you have your humanitarian money. Is that factually how it's going to play out? I don't know, because I'm getting mixed messaging on that. But what I can tell you is that I personally know of at least 1, if not 2, groups / organizations that their primary goal on the other side of this is funding humanitarian projects. So if we go to the Redemption Center and we say, hey, I've got Zim, I've got this project, and it's a good project, it's organized, they feel like you could, successfully pull it off, then you get X number of dollars for your humanitarian project from the Redemption Center, whatever, right? But if not, there are going to be multiple organizations worldwide that have been a part of this from the very beginning, that have been either aggregating or stockpiling Zim and all these other currencies and all the bond boxes. And their primary focus is to bring or usher in the humanitarian side of this thing. So one way or the other, you're going to be able to submit your ideas to get funding. Again, I just keep going back to, I don't exactly know how that's going to play out now, right? Because I get very contrasting information, but both of them say there's going to be funding for humanitarian projects. So I would encourage you to know, or I would encourage you to stand on the fact that there's going to be money specifically allocated for humanitarian projects. How that gets disseminated to we the people, that's the question I have. But when I find the answer, I will absolutely share it, because I guarantee you I'll figure it out one way or the other. And when I find out how it's physically going to work, I will share the information and point people in the right directions.
Thank you, Dallas. All right, here's another one on the board. Dallas, have you heard anything about the Lebanon currency? Thank you. That's from Anna.
I don't. It's not one of the ones I own. And that sounds kind of selfish or egotistical, but I mean, I got into this just like everybody else, like I heard about it a long time ago, probably 14, 15 years ago. But I thought it was a scam, like, oh, well, good luck, hope you get your money there, bud. And then, fast forward 10 years and now I'm like, well, I spent my last 5 years learning everything I can about it. Right. I just don't know. I would assume it's going to revalue. I don't have an idea of where or how, or not where, but how much. But I mean, Lebanon is still, I mean, it's a globally recognized country now, right? So it's got to have in-ground resources. It's got to have gold and silver. So I would expect it to revalue at some level. I have no idea how much.
Thank you, Dallas. All right, Ty, go ahead. Your mic is unmuted. Go ahead, Ty. Your mic is unmuted. Ty, your mic is unmuted. All right, Trump train, go ahead.
Hey, Dallas. Hey, Jenny.
Hi,
Hello.
brother.
Hey, you guys don't forget, we've got military over in the area of Venezuela. And don't forget, the fake news put it out there that the opposition of Maduro came out and addressed her Venezuelans that were out of country here in the United States, that all of them would be wanting to come back to Venezuela to reevaluate their currency. And, don't forget, Venezuela is like the fourth richest country in the world.
Yep.
And two other things to think of. Don't forget, Sadani, re-election, mid-October.
November. Yeah. The end of
Yep.
October, November.
Yep, exactly. And then you've got Viktor Orban that's over the UN right now, and I think his term's coming up. The guy that's from Hungary. And the reason I ask that is, have you heard anything in regards to the Pango, Dallas? My brother from in heaven.
You come on just to ask me that question, knowing what my answer is going to be, and I can't say I don't own it, because I own it because you gave me some. That's not, the Pango doesn't come up in my conversations, so that's not something that I get, feedback on. but I mean, what Mark Z has said, the few times that he's referenced it, he's hearing positive things about it. So I'm excited about it.
Well,
And on a personal note, thank you for your birthday gift. It was very much appreciated and used wisely.
Well, brother, when I heard you say egg diet for 14 days, I said, hell no. Your ass is going to eat a steak, brother.
Hey, I only have 2 more days. Well, if you don't count today, I got tomorrow and Friday, and then I'm done with my egg diet. But I'm down over 10 pounds, so it has worked.
Did you say
Well,
egg diet? EGG diet?
yep.
Yeah, I've only
Oh,
I've been eating 14 eggs a day for the last week and a day. So it's 10 days. You eat 14 eggs a day for 10 days.
oh
And,
my goodness. I think I would throw up.
I can tell you that eggs are not my favorite thing right now, but man, if you want to cleanse, oh my gosh, eat nothing but eggs for a couple days. But I feel awesome. I mean, I've literally lost. I think I'm at like 12 and a half pounds now. But I feel great. My waist, my pant size has dropped probably an inch. And then I'm gonna starting Friday, I'm gonna transition into the um,
Carnivore?
carnivore. Yeah, but I did, because of my friend that we're talking to. Friday night we went, and I was like, well, I can't go to a steakhouse and order eggs, so I just ate steak. So I kind of did the carnivore last Friday, but it was very much
Good for
appreciated.
you. Good for you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Trump Train, for your question. Here's another one for you, Dallas, from Texas Artist. Dallas question. Hi, Jenny and Dallas. We hear a lot about the Zim Trillion series and Argo Billions. Do you know anything about the Zim bear checks with millions? Love you both. Thank you.
Do you think he's referring to the agro checks, the billion dollar agro checks?
I think so. Texas Artist, if you could be a little bit more, if you can clarify a little bit more, but yeah, I think so.
I have heard nothing but hugely positive news about the agro checks, to the point where in the world that those things are, because somebody has to buy them, right? Like that's the part that sometimes kind of gets left out of this equation, is that somebody has to fund this RV, right? And so the agro checks and the Zim bonds and the boxes of bonds and things like that, like somebody has to be willing to buy them in order for you to get money from them, right? But in the bigger scheme of this whole GCR, global currency reset RV thing, the agro checks have become a really, really hot commodity from what I'm understanding, because as we, hopefully, if you don't know, I'm about to tell you, but Zimbabwe is one of the richest countries in the world when it comes to in-ground assets, like gold, silver, rare earth minerals, copper, lithium. I mean, I have a document from the IMF that it was published, or it was released in like 2013, I think is the date on it. But that document said that Zimbabwe's in-ground assets were 125,000% greater than the United States' in-ground assets. Right? Like process that mathematically, right? Like the United States literally
Oh, you're cutting.
gold, oil. Oh, is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
The United States has some of the largest reserves of in-ground assets, meaning not, like they're still in the ground, right? As far as gold, oil, lithium, platinum, copper, silver. And Zimbabwe, according to the IMF, their in-ground assets are 125,000% greater than that of the United States. So these agro checks, these agro bonds, what are they for, right? And so they were designed to fund like the what's the word I'm trying to think of, the kind of the building out of the agricultural sector of Zimbabwe. But what it is they're really bonds to purchase segments of land to then be processed, right, or worked on, right, whether it's for agriculture or whether it's for mining. So the powers that be are very interested in buying huge lumps of agro checks so that they can go and then sell them back to the country of Zimbabwe for access to huge, tracts of land to mine, whatever, right? And so the agro checks have actually become very, very important in the bigger scheme of this thing. So if you have agro checks, I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised. I mean, I've heard all kinds of crazy numbers, but I won't share any of those until such time as I can verify, because some of the numbers are just ridiculous, but they're going to be valuable.
Thank you,
But
Dallas.
Dallas, I'm sorry. There is a third one, and it's called Bearer Check, Bearer, and it also has the inscription on it, pay to the bearer the full value of, and it is millions, whereas your trillion series, then you have your billion series, which are the agros, then you have the million series, which is the bearer checks, and a number of places sell them. You can get them from Banknote, you can get them from 100 trillion, you can get them off eBay, but they're much, and also they've been much used much more. Most of them are stained, they've been carried around, they're tattered, but they're still very obvious what they are. In other words, they're not in such bad shape that you wouldn't be able to turn them in.
Yeah.
But I'm not hearing anyone say anything about them, and so I was just curious. Thank you.
Thank you, Texas artist.
I'm sorry. I've I'm going to add to your list of I've never heard of them. So I will do some digging. Bearer checks. I will do some digging. I'll reach out to some people and see if I can come back with something about those. I have not heard of them, so I will do some digging. Thank you.
Thank you, Dallas. And everybody, Dallas gives us 90 minutes of his time. We are right there at that time. So Dallas, let me see. So you said October 20th is when you start your new job, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've been offered two. One starts on the 20th and one starts on the 28th. But the one that I probably will take is the 20th, which is the third Monday of October. I mean, we're just shy. I mean, obviously today's the 24th, so we're 4 days shy of a month.
So we've probably got a good before you start a good 1-2 more shows on here on Wednesday before you start.
Yeah.
And then you want to talk on the backside of when and if you want to continue coming on, whatever works for you.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. All right. We'll work that out, everybody. All right, everybody. Dallas will be back here with us in 2 weeks. And then we'll have one other show with him before he starts his day gig on a Wednesday. And then we will figure out when we will bring him on as it correlates to his working schedule. So Dallas, congratulations on that. I know that's not what you want to do. So I will pray for you that something better comes in the meantime.
Yes,
And
please.
yes.
Because my wife and I, God bless my wife. I mean, I love her dearly. And she has absolutely just destroyed herself worrying about money for us. And I'll be honest, I grew up very, very poor. I mean, and when I say very, very poor, like kind of imagine the poorest person you've ever met that still had a house to live in, right? I mean, we never lived, we never slept in a car or anything like that, but we lived off government subsidies, government bread, government milk, government cheese. And our milk wasn't even like real milk. It was powdered milk that we mixed with our well water. But money has never been a motivating thing for me. I mean, I've had money and I haven't had money, but for the last almost 20 years, I have not, my wife, sorry, my oldest daughter just got home from school. My wife has done our finances since we got married. Not because I can't do it, because that's actually my job, finances, but she's really anal retentive about it. She's, she has reminders in her calendar. She has reminders on her phone. She has sticky notes on her computer to pay bills and do this and do that. And I've just let her because that's her thing. So I have not had any direct interaction with our finances for almost 20 years. And over the last several years, where I kind of stepped away from personal production and, and making all the money that I was making, because when I was full time in the financial world, I was making way more than I should have. But we also did a lot of good with it, right? I mean, we gave away a lot of money, but that's neither here nor there. But I have not concerned myself with money, and we sat down and really kind of hammered out our monthly budget last week, and holy guacamole.
Time to go back to work.
how we've made it this far is all God, right?
God. Yep.
But last night, we were talking, and she's excited that I've been offered these jobs, but she was like, is there any way you can go to work earlier? I was like, well, no, because one, it's a training course, but two, like, I don't want to go to work like this. I work my tail off right every day right now. The problem is I just don't get paid to do it. Like, I don't get paid for this. I don't get paid for PPN. I don't get paid for Hero. I get paid basically gas money to do what I do at the church with Dr. J. And I don't get paid anything from my wrestling ministry because all the money is going to build it, and to expand and grow and all that stuff. So everything that I've done for the last several years has been pretty much, free of charge. Right. And, and I've slowly set up some affiliates, the Wave Watch and the ivermectin, the fenbendazole through Biozox and, those kind of things. But none of them pay me a gajillion dollars. Right. I mean, it's usually, I have one.
Dallas, real quickly, I don't mean to cut you off, but I have another show I got to do in like 20
my bad.
minutes. No, you're good. I didn't mean, I don't like cutting you off, but I have another show with Carrie Kasem here in about 20 minutes. So,
well, one, say hi for me.
I will.
We met years ago at I think a baby Trump deal. But anyway, I'm not saying that's a whine and complain, but I am doing exactly what I feel God has called me to do. The problem is that my family is suffering financially for it. So I don't want to go back to work. Like that. I don't want to go back to a 9 to 5, and that's what it's going to be. It's going to be Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Right. And, but
God bless.
I've got to do what I got to do. Right. And so
Amen.
unless God decides to pull that lever
And
release
he
this clip.
will. He will. We'll pray for you, Dallas. We'll pray for you. All right,
So, thank
sweetie.
you.
I'll talk to you soon, and I'll get with you on the backside, and we'll get you scheduled for the times that you may be working if it comes to fruition to be like that. So everybody here, God bless you. Have the rest of your day. Have a great rest of your day. Come back here in about 20 minutes to listen to Carrie Kasem, and we will see you then, everybody. And then also to Silk on my X Space later tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Over on X, we will do a show over there as well. Thank you, Dallas. God bless you. And we love you. And we will be saying our prayers for you that something better comes for you before you have to start your job.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
God bless. Have a great day.